This is ATN Global News at 9. First, the headlines. Court orders police to pay Monarch 3 million naira compensation. Cross River State Assembly Speaker impeached. And the Senate to convene Security Summit over herdsmen attack. And President Tinubu approved $750 million for rural electrification. United Kingdom general election holds July 4th. Finidi says Super Eagles must win next 2 games. Federal government bans money rituals, smoking scenes in Nollywood films.
Get ready! As Morrison Communications Limited proudly presents Children's Day Celebration 2024.
Arts. La Small Hotel and Resorts, number 9, Room Calagbo off Waterlines, Basta, Port Harcourt.
On Saturday, May 25th, starting at 8 a.m., inter-school march past competition,
Dance competition, drama competition. Parents, teachers and children alike, don't miss out on the fun with Uncle Clown bouncing castle as we cut the Children's Day cake. Admission is just 2,000 naira per child. For participation and sponsorship opportunities, call us now 0806 673 8689 and 0810 634 1777.
This event is proudly sponsored by the La Small Hotel and Resort with Atlantic Television Network and 99.5 Wish FM Port Harcourt, Lesuka Event Center, Gate Place Hotel, 8 Ball Hotel and Lounge, Oma Studio, Osgia Table Water.
Remember that every child is unique. See you there. This event is managed by Pace Expressions Arts.
Special guest appearance, Hilda Dokubo, Children's Day Celebration 2024.
Driver, why you just a jack us up and down like this now?
I hope nobody carry belle.
Why you ask oh?
Because this road where they see so, it no guarantee safe delivery.
We just dey vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Road so e no dey, light o usai, the infrastructure nko e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
Now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. We call you back.
Their behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently. Make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption not in my country.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract where we do that time now? They don't pay.
But first, you see the house rent with the old things. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap him.
Beg, see, you know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shout beer in our house, I could pay that one. You remember say me and tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy now.
Okay, they pay you money now. Where we don't they beg caretaker, where would they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time. Money can't come now, you won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akinfade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
And now the news in detail. River State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has ruled that the Nigeria police should compensate Eze Ekpeye, Lobo, Kelvin and Nugo with a sum of 3 million naira for unlawfully arresting and detaining him for over 82 days in connection with the death of the late Aoda Divisional Police Officer SP Bako. Justice A.M. Orie, the presiding judge, also mandated the police to issue a public apology to Eze Nugwe for violating his fundamental human rights. The court also issued an injunction barring the police from further arresting, threatening or harassing the applicant regarding the death of the late SP. Agbarashim, stressing that additional sum of 200,000 naira was awarded to the applicant for the breach of his fundamental human right. This is coming after Agbarashim was murdered in Aoda East local government area of the state by suspected cultists while returning from an operation. However, the court freed many of the arrested suspects. Analysts have called for the protection of judicial sanctity and integrity in the justice delivery system in Nigeria. Speaking on Atlantic Television Open Conversation, a socio-political analyst, Don Akbaraji, spoke on the need for judicial harmony and sanctity as a means to foster dependency between the people and the system.
It is the duty of the judges to protect the sanctity of the court. And that goes a long way. When a litigant begins to foreign shop, if I know that if I go here, it will not favor me, I will go and do my own. Because you know that one way or the other, something will be given to you. The court was too fast. We should even ask ourselves, when was this matter filed? When was this matter filed? Were all the parties in this matter, were they represented? Were they served with these processes? Yes. Because I know very well that a matter of this nature is not something that is usually, the court usually gives quick and fast decision about. Because it's not.
Meanwhile, in view of judicial sanctity, Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu also called for more professionalism among judicial officers.
For them to, for the judges, from what the lawyer said, for them to allow themselves to be obviously, aligning into the glaring of the public, the Nigerian masses that are watching, for you now to jettison the integrity of the temple and align with where your interest lies. That is what is making it so obvious that they are taking sides. But as a human being and as a political being, there is no law that is binding you from taking side. But let it not affect your judgment. Because of your profession, because people look up to you, you have to live above board.
This is coming after the River State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt, the state capital, on Tuesday, nullified tenure extension for the chairman of the 23 local government areas in the state. The court also declared the Local Government Law No. 2 of 2024, which extended the tenure of local government chairmen by 6 months after the expiration of their tenure, as invalid. Men of Tantita Security Services has nabbed a V6 200 horsepower engine speedboat carrying unquantified illegally refined crude oil stored in sacks. Santita Security Coordinator for Ubudede Community, Samson Uwase, said the boat was intercepted at the Ogunu Creek in Warri South local government area of Delta State. Uwase said the suspected oil thieves aboard the vessel took to heels and abandoned the boat and the crude oil. Meanwhile, the Bayelsa State government has warned pipeline and oil facility vandals to stop forthwith or be ready to face the full weight of the law. The Deputy Governor, Senator Lawrence, handed down the warnings at an enlarged security meeting with first-class traditional rulers, service commanders, local government chairmen, and the leadership of the Ijo Youth Council Central Zone and other youth bodies at his office in the government house, Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, adding that the state government would no longer condone such economic crimes that destroy the environment and reduce the revenues accruing to the state. Bill for an act to establish the Agriculture and Energy Technical Institute in Abo Delta State has passed the second reading in the House of Representatives, and the federal government will soon establish the institute. Sponsored by the member representing Ndokwa Okwani Federal Constituency, Delta State, Nnamdi Ezechi, the proposed law seeks to the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act and Federation 2004 to pave the way for the establishment of the Agriculture and Energy Technical Institute in Abo. Leading the debate on the general principles of the bill during plenary, the lawmakers said the proposed law held immense potential for the agricultural and energy sectors of the nation. He also said the bill aligned with the governor's agenda to diversify the economy and promote self-sufficiency in food production, adding that the institute would also serve as a catalyst for innovation, technology transfer, and collaboration amongst academia, industry, and government agencies. The bill will also foster a conducive environment for research and development, as well as unlock the untapped potential of the agriculture and energy sectors towards sustainable growth and prosperity for generations to come. The Speaker of the House also referred the bill to the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions for further legislative action. Justice James Kolowale of the Federal High Court in Abuja has granted permission to the impeached Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shoaibu, to join the Speaker of the State Assembly in his suit challenging his impeachment before the court. The judge also granted order to the former Deputy Governor to join his successor as a defendant in the suit, and while delivering ruling in the motion on notice filed by Shoaibu, the judge agreed with his counsel, Ayotunde San, that both the Speaker and the new Deputy Governor are necessary parties in the suit. The judge held that under Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution, the name of the Speaker features prominently in the impeachment process be brought to court for order that would be made to legally bind on them. Justice Omotosho dismissed the objections raised against the motion on notice by the Speaker and the Deputy Governor for being frivolous and without merit, and subsequently invoked Order 17 Rule 1 of the Federal High Court and ordered that the Speaker and the Deputy Governor be joined in the suit. The court also granted permission to the former Deputy Governor to amend his originating summons in the suit to reflect the name of the Speaker and the Deputy Governor as 9th and 10th defendants in the case. And hearing in the substantive suit had been fixed for June 3rd based on the accelerated hearing ordered by the judge. People's Democratic Party has constituted a 152-member National Campaign Council for the September 16 Edo governorship elections. A statement issued by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, in Abuja, said Adamawa State Governor Amadu Fintiri of Adamawa chaired the council, which will be inaugurated on June 11. He said the National Working Committee is committed to ensuring the victory for the party in the Edo election, while other members of the campaign council, he said, are Governors Kefa Sabu of Plateau, Sheriff of Delta as Deputy Chairman, as well as former President Goodluck Jonathan. Others are former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and Nnamdi Sambo, the party Board of Trustees Chairman Senator Adolphus Wabara, as well as the PDP National Chairman Umar Damagun and governors of the PDP platform. Speaker of the Cross Rivers State House of Assembly, Elveto Kom, has been impeached. The Speaker was impeached by 17 members of the House during Wednesday's plenary over allegations of misappropriation of funds. The impeachment motion was moved by Effium Akarika, who represents Calabar South 1 constituency. The motion was seconded by Omang Charles Omang, lawmaker representing Bekwara State constituency. The impeached Speaker, Ayambem, was elected Speaker of the 10th Cross River State House of Assembly in June 2023. Police in Anambra State has arrested an 18-year-old man, Anichede Akachuku, aka Star B, who is said to be notorious cultist and leader of armed robbery gang. A statement by the spokesperson of the Anambra State Police Command, SP Tochukwu Ikenga, said the suspect is notorious for conducting robberies in the Asaba Delta State and Ogbaru in Anambra. Ikenga said operatives of the command in a different operation at Okija, Ihiala local government area, recovered a white Porsche Carney Jeep, which he said was an operational vehicle of secessionists. 2 Lagos State University students were allegedly injured by a stray bullet after there was an attempted robbery at a residential area in the Ojo area of the state. Eyewitness said the victims had been hit by stray bullets outside the school campus when they went to purchase food around 8 p.m. and while commenting on the tweet, Kapo Olawale, a senior special advisor on Students' Union Affairs of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who confirmed the incident, said he was in touch with the Varsity Students' Union president, whom he claimed had told him that the victims were in a stable condition. The Lagos State Police Command is yet to make any comment on the matter. Association of Tourist Boat Operators and Water Transport of Nigeria has called for fight against crimes on the Lagos State waterways. President of the group, Tazan Balogun, who disclosed this in Lagos, said the security challenges in Nigeria, the waterways had become alternative routes of escape for criminals. He said the federal and state government should, in addition to deploy more officers, provide the necessities for them to function effectively and efficiently and assure smooth operation and provision of new speedboats with big engine horsepower and improved maintenance. Balogun also said the illegal and brazen activities of pirates, kidnappers and bunkers on the waterway had been unbearable, while calling on the state and federal government to team up and address, stressing that the inauguration was part of the moves to combat smuggling, piracy, oil theft and other illicit activities plaguing the maritime space. The flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral M.B. Hassan, during the inauguration of the operation, said the exercise was to protect the nation's economy. Ogun State Police Command says it had launched a manhunt for the suspects who perpetrated the adoption on a woman, Nimota Bosari, in the Ibepa area of the Sagama local government area of Ogun State. Police said Bosari and her children were returning home from her shop in a vehicle when they were accosted by the gunmen. Confirming the incident, the State Police Public Relations Officer Omolola Odutola said an investigation had commenced to secure the release of the adopted woman. The Commissioner of Police, Alamutu Abiodun, said he had directed a manhunt of the suspects and a safe rescue of the victim, adding that there were concerns about the syndicate carrying out the adoption within the axis and the suspects would soon be apprehended. Speaker of the Kogi State House of Assembly, Aliyu Umar Yusuf, is appealing to the State Commissioner of Police and other security agencies to provide armed officers to guard the Assembly complex. The Speaker made the appeal during plenary session and directed the Clerk of the House to communicate the request to the appropriate authorities for immediate action. The House, in a voice vote, supported the Speaker's motion. Minister of Federal Capital Territory Administration, Nyesom Wike, says he will work with Sweden on telecommunications and transportation to strengthen coexisting cooperation between Nigeria and Sweden. The FCT minister who disclosed this while receiving a Sweden ambassador to Nigeria, Her Excellency Anika Han Anglon, at the FCT Administration Secretariat in Abuja, highlighted the importance of collaboration between the FCT and the Sweden investors in telecommunication and transportation.
Honourable Minister, for receiving us today. Well, I mean, we are very eager to see how we can cooperate more with you and FCT. Sweden and Nigeria have long-standing relations, and I can also mention that just a year ago we made a climate investment study how the Swedish companies saw on the Nigerian market, and more than 80% of them actually said that they had a very positive view, and they expected to expand in the coming years, both in volume and also to employ more people. So we see a great potential, and especially when it comes to the green and digital transition. I can also mention that we just, the Swedish government just released a new trade policy where Nigeria was one of the a handful of countries mentioned that we really see an interest in when it comes to green and digital transformation. And I know that you here in FCT are working a lot on that. We've already met before with the Mandate Secretary for Health and Environment to discuss a few projects with her, and we see that there are many things we can do together. I also would like to commend you, Honourable Minister, for what you're doing here in FCT. We see all these projects that are now progressing, and that, of course, for us living here is a great sign.
Earlier, the Swedish ambassador to Nigeria, Anika Han Englund, said her country would like to strengthen the bilateral relationship it enjoyed with Nigeria over the years, adding that Sweden had a comparative advantage in the area of digital telecommunications and transportation management.
From you to our secretariat, we're always there for you. My Mandate Secretary of Health have told me their discussions with them as it relates to health and other environmental issues.
Yes.
We are willing at any time to collaborate and cooperate, partner with other interested companies who will contribute for the symbiotic relationship of the two parties. Sweden, the country known for its advance in technology and agriculture, is there, so we will be willing to partner with some of their companies who are interested to also be in FCT to invest. Tourism is one key area that people would like to see how Abuja is and look at other areas. You know, I have been to countries. I know what tourism potential is all about. So we will be happy if we can partner together and develop some tourist centers, companies who have the capacity and the capabilities. So I want to say that we're here. If there are problems you think we should be able to solve, don't hesitate. Letting us know on time. Let us also thank you for appreciating the little we are doing in terms of the infrastructure. I also use the opportunity to let you know that probably before you get back to your office, or maybe tomorrow, you get an invite from us to join Mr. President to ride on the metro line on 27th, which is on Monday.
Okay.
And it would be very interesting for you to see what the Renewed Hope agenda is all about.
Abuja Federal High Court has granted former commander of Force Intelligence Response Team Abba Kyari 2 weeks bail. The court said the 2-week bail was to allow Kyari return home to conclude his mother's burial rite. The court subsequently set Friday, May 31 for determination of his bail application. Kyari is facing trial for drug-related charges filed by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and was arrested on February 14, 2022 by the NDLEA. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has expressed partnership with Rwanda for the economic development of the FCT. The FCT minister, who disclosed this when he received the Rwandan High Commissioner to Nigeria, His Excellency Christopher Bazivamo, a courtesy visit to the FCT administration, highlighted the importance of collaboration between the FCT and Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, in waste and developmental management.
A new ambassador of Rwanda in Nigeria. I wanted actually to, let's say, to brief you about Rwanda, but also about Rwanda, the status of Rwanda and Nigeria cooperation. We have been enjoying kind of bilateral cooperation for a long time, and in that framework we are actually also discussing to see if, as you know, the Federal Republic of Nigeria does implement the reciprocity policy, and we will have started discussions around actually waiving visas for Rwandans coming to Nigeria, as it is the same for all Nigerians going to Kigali. And this will allow, this is what we think, and it has been actually witnessed in our areas, will allow free movement of people between Kigali and Abuja, Lagos, and other cities. And we look forward actually for collaboration between the FCT and Rwanda, Kigali City, in different areas, including e-governance, including environmental management, including infrastructure. And congratulations, Your Excellency, you have seen actually this changing very quickly in this period, and we want to learn from actually this speed of implementation to see how maybe our cities can be partnering not only in infrastructure development and management, but also in environmental management, in e-governance, in tourism. And we expect from this kind of discussions maybe to start this kind of vision, having our two cities working together.
In his remarks, the Rwandan High Commissioner Christopher Bazivamo said the aim of the visit was to brief the FCT minister on the status of the bilateral cooperation that Rwanda is enjoying with Nigeria, and also expressed a desire for cooperation between Kigali and the FCT in the areas of environmental management and infrastructure development, amongst others.
So there's quite a lot to learn from this state of development in Kigali. In fact, yes, it has been my desire to visit particularly Kigali to see how it is. So it will be necessary for FCT to partner with Kigali so as to learn from each other. Like I said, environmental issue, waste management, and the rest of it. Kigali is quite a clean city from what I have heard. So we would like to see how we can collaborate with you and partner with each other and learn from each other so as to improve on what we already have. So I can assure you, if there are problems you have as a mission, do not hesitate to let us know. In fact, I invited a director of labs because I saw a letter pertaining to the land allocated to Rwanda. So I invited him so that we'll be able to see how we can resolve it. I don't want any hiccups. It is our duty to make things very convenient for all foreign embassies. And I can assure you that will not be an issue at all. And I assure you that your coming here will be very fruitful. Be assured that we'll continue to cooperate with you. We as FCT were willing to give the necessary support that you require to be able to carry out your activities so easily.
Benue State Governor Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia has stopped farming in Makurdi metropolis and resorted to plant flowers to beautify the town. He says apart from the fact that flowers brighten and beautify the environment with their range of colors, which is exactly what his administration is out to achieve, flowers also have a calming effect on the mind and can help to create a peaceful and relaxing environment. A statement by his chief press secretary, Sate Sokula, the governor restated the warning to those who refuse to heed his earlier orders and are still using empty plots of land and the frontage of their houses to cultivate crops within Makurdi metropolis. He also said Aliyah had directed that such people should clear such farms immediately before the government does so in order to beautify the state capital. Investigators of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Gombe State Zonal Command has arrested a woman identified as Janti Emmanuel for allegedly abusing Nigerian currency in the state. Emmanuel was arrested on Monday, May 20, 2024, following intelligence that spotted her spraying Naira notes at a social event. A statement issued by the Commission's head, Media and Publicity, Dele Oyewale, said that he would be charged to court as soon as investigations are concluded. This is coming after the anti-graft agency continues to clamp down on Nigerians who are found guilty of abusing the Naira. Justice Abimbola, while sentencing the convict, said the judgment would be a deterrent to others who are found abusing and mutilating the notes. Kano State House of Assembly has adopted a motion to recall the Kano State Emirate Council Amendment Bill. This was sequel to deliberations on the floor of the House during the plenary session presided over by the Speaker Alhaji Ismail Falgore, and a motion of urgent public importance moved by the Majority Leader Alhaji Lawan Dala, who urged the House to support the motion to move the state forward. The motion of urgent public importance was seconded by the member representing Dawakin Tofa Shuaibu Rabiu. This is coming after the Assembly had in 2019, during the administration of the immediately past Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, approved the creation of 4 additional emirate councils and bringing the number of first-class emirs in the state to 5, while in September 2020, the House passed the Emirate Council Amendment Bill 2020, which made provisions for the Emir of Kano to serve as the chairman of the councils of chiefs, putting the issue of rotation to an end. The group also called for the reinstatement of the former Emir of Kano, Alhaji Mohammed Sanusi II. Analysts have expressed disappointment over the futility of the just concluded meeting between organized labor and the federal government. Speaking on Atlantic Television Blowout, a public affairs analyst just concluded meeting between the labor union and the federal government over the new minimum wage.
Because if we are serious, we will resolve some of these issues without allowing them linger. See, the leadership of this country, beginning with the local government chairman to the federal government, they know the truth, they know the solution. They are aware that Nigerians are already grappling to survive because of the economic situation. The situation is just so terrible that so many find it difficult even to have the basic 3 square meals daily.
The barrister Ndamzo Ekolo said the expectations of the citizens and the working masses was an upward review following the looming high cost of living and the fuel subsidy removal.
How do you negotiate downward when the people expect an upward review considering the economic situation? I mean, it's laughable. That shows insincerity on the part of the government. It shows insincerity. It shows that the government is not ready to listen to the yearnings. These are ordinary Nigerians, for God's sake.
The tripartite minimum wage negotiation meeting involving organized labor, the federal and state government and the organized private sector, which ended in deadlock following labor's dismissal of the government's 54,000 naira offer. Labor leaders also lamented the absence of state governors in the meeting to present their offers, as their representatives said they had no mandate. All Progressives Congress says it has dismissed the potential merger talk between the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Atiku Abubakar, and the standard bearer of the Labour Party in the election, Peter Obi. It described Atiku and Obi as desperate politicians who could not be trusted with power. The ruling party also said it had no doubt that the meeting between the two opposition candidates will amount to nothing, saying it was being fueled by a mutual desperation to ensure President Bola Tinubu did not return to office in 2027. The National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Felix Morka, who disclosed this in a statement issued by in Abuja titled Atiku Obi United by Mutual Desperation. Move of desperation said after the Supreme Court affirmed Tinubu's victory in the 2023 election, Atiku called for unity amongst major opposition parties as well as his readiness to lead a coalition against Tinubu in 2027. Reacting to the planned coalition, Morka acknowledged that the meeting of the political allies had further heightened the speculations of a possible alliance between both men and their political parties ahead of 2027. Campaign team of Labour Party presidential flag bearer Peter Obi says the recent visit of the former Anambra governor to the party secretariat in Abuja was a reconciliatory move and not an endorsement as being twisted in a section of the media. A statement issued in Abuja by Obi's campaign spokesman Yanusa Tanko said his principal also met with the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the trade union Congress political arm and to seek an end to their conflict with the party. In a counter statement released barely an hour later, the National Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party, Obi Oraifo, once against twisting the well-intentioned visit of their presidential candidate, adding that Peter Obi and Abure were on the same page on reconciliation of aggrieved members and stakeholders of the party. This is coming after the Labour Party's national chairman, Julius Abure, during his maiden press conference last week, pleaded with all the warring parties, including the NLC, to sheath their swords and join in the rebuilding process of the party. The statement also said the reconciliatory efforts will be consummated and metamorphosed into a political force that will usher in a government to liberate Nigerians from the shackles of maladministration facing the country. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo says for democracy to be effective in Nigeria and Africa as a whole, it must be built on the principles of good leadership, strong institutions, and the rule of law. Obasanjo disclosed this appeal at the Summit on a State Democracy in Africa held at the Yaradua Center in Abuja, said Africa must build a model of democracy that is true to the African heritage and that caters for the welfare of the people. Obasanjo advocated a democracy that works for all the African people and also charged African leaders to show an unwavering commitment to the welfare of the people. He defined democracy as a government by the people's consent with a clear mandate of the people, without corruption and for the welfare of the masses. The Arewa Consultative Forum Chairman, Maman Mike, says it is difficult for President Bola Tinubu to conquer within 1 year the challenges of the country. ACF's National Executive Committee, which disclosed this meeting in Kaduna, said the president took over power when the country was faced with him. The Arewa Consultative Forum had resolved to be tremendous assistance whenever invited to make its contribution to the development of Nigeria. The ACF also said it is aimed at promoting the pursuit of the interests, particularly of people in the 19 northern states, within the context of Nigeria's sovereignty. Federal government the first anniversary of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu's 1 year in office, promising to be in low-key but focuses on ministerial sectorial updates. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who disclosed this at the Ministry of Information in Abuja, said the ministerial sectorial updates will provide accountability to Nigerians and resurgent citizens that Tinubu's government remains focused and committed to fulfilling promises made.
From tomorrow, we're going to have ministers coming here to discuss what they are doing in their various ministries consistent with the policy of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the policy of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the anniversary, that the 1 year anniversary holding is going to be one that is low-key. And that is why emphasis is going to be placed only on sectoral briefings. There will be no ceremonies heralding the 1 year in office of the president. We're going to have sectoral briefings by the various ministers, and this is consistent with the policy of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to improve efficiency and ensure that government expenditure is also kept for the good of the people.
While in his welcome address, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said interministerial briefing will begin tomorrow, being 23rd May 2024, to tell Nigerians their achievements in 1 year to fulfill President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda.
This event offers an invaluable opportunity to reflect on the journey we embarked upon about a year ago and to share the remarkable progress made under the President's visionary leadership. The objective is to acquaint the good people of our country with strides taken within the first year of this administration. Essentially, this event is purpose to render accountability to Nigerians by promoting the accomplishments of the present administration in its first year in office and to reassure our citizens that government shall remain focused and committed to the implementation of the renewed hope agenda for positive impact on the socio-economic life of Nigerians. As you may recall, Mr. President had declared his unwavering commitment to, I quote, unleashing our country's full economic potential, focusing on job creation, access to capital for small and large businesses, inclusiveness, the rule of law, fight against hunger, poverty, and corruption. The good people of our country. It is therefore imperative that the public is made aware of such commitments, as well as the programs and projects being pursued by government. Government is also poised to unveil measures being taken to positively change the trajectory of the current Nigerian economy. Let me begin by admitting that the first year in office of Mr. President has been testimony of sorts and goes to show the unwavering commitment and resilience of this administration towards serving the Nigerian people with diligence, integrity, and dedication.
Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, has warned Nigerians against excess salt and sodium intake, stressing that it could cause hypertension and other heart diseases. He disclosed this in Abuja at a news conference to commemorate the 2024 Salt Awareness Week, which has the theme "It's Time to Shine the Spotlight on Salt," and represented by the ministry's permanent secretary, Daju Kacholom. He said the federal government would increase public awareness of the dangers of excess salt intake. The minister also said not less than 10% of cardiovascular diseases and deaths are attributed to the burden of excess sodium consumption in Nigeria, including varying estimates of the average daily intake of dietary sodium amongst Nigerian adults ranging from 2.3 to 10 grams per day, while the intake of dietary salts range from 5.8 to 25 grams per day. He said that the figure was significantly higher than the World Health Organization's recommendation for a daily intake of 2 grams of sodium and 5 grams of salt, adding that reducing sodium intake was crucial for controlling blood pressure, which would help prevent hypertension and reduce the risk of cardiovascular diseases. According to him, salt is a hidden adversary in people's diets, and it contributes to the burden of cardiovascular diseases that afflicts many. The Academic Staff Union of Universities Bauchi Zone says it is not particularly happy with the appointment of governing boards across federal tertiary institutions, saying that the Bola Tinubu-led administration should instead reinstate the earlier dissolved members. The zone, comprising executives from Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi State University, Gadwa Federal University, Kashara, and Gombe State University, also as well as Plateau State University and the University of Jos, disclosed this after a meeting in Gombe State. Speaking, Zonal Coordinator Comrade Namaku said the union didn't demand fresh appointments from the boards and urged that Tinubu should reinstate the previously sacked members, adding that the vacuum caused by the sack of governing council boards made vice-chancellors act as emperors and empresses. Also, immediate past coordinator Lawan Abubakar said reconstitution of boards wasn't the demand of the union. The government should do the needful because the union will meet at the end of the time frame given at the National Executive Council meeting. Also speaking, Comrade Alphonsus Alubo San called for the restoration of council boards. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break.
2024.
Arts. La Small Hotel and Resorts, number 9, Room Calagbo off Waterlines, Pastor, Port Harcourt.
On Saturday, May 25th, starting at 8 a.m., inter-school march past competition,
Dance competition, drama competition. Parents, teachers, and children alike, don't miss out on the fun with Uncle Clown bouncing castle as we cut the Children's Day cake. Admission is just 2,000 naira per child. For participation and sponsorship opportunities, call us now 0806 673 8689 and 0810 634 1777.
This event is proudly sponsored by the Last Mall Hotel and Resort with Atlantic Television Network and 99.5 Wish FM Port Harcourt, Lesuka Event Center, Gate Place Hotel, 8 Ball Hotel and Lounge, Oma Studio, Osgia Table.
Children's Day Celebration 2024.
Corruption not in my country.
Kasali, Kasali, I hope so my car don't ready. I get interview in 30 minutes.
Okay, you don't ready. Now just the last minute instruction where you give me yesterday. Now in the cause more delay.
Which instruction?
Maybe now you say make I change the meter, make you no read again.
Which time did I make you change meter? Oh, Kasali, why you do like this now? Eh? You don't get sense. You don't read the text message. Nobody I want send them to. Like Kasali, my electrician, make it come house, call me do my meter so that you don't go to read again. You the electrician?
The electrician?
Yes, now.
So you call Kasali electrician, make it come help you adjust your meter, make it for no read again, Abi. So you said you want join people where be say they no want they pay NEPA bill again, Abi. Oga, you no good now. You don't you don't they behave like all these stiff people.
Oh, what you change for your motor? What you change for?
Two lights. Fuel gauge. Speedometer.
For what thing are you for? Come on for home my motor. I better identify for me.
Okay. Now don't do something we corrupt. And something come backfire. Now go come they find how to dodge them.
What you talk?
I greet you.
Corruption not in my
This
country.
message is brought to you by the Akin Fadayi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption not in my country.
What you want to buy?
Potato. Small baskets. I want plantain. But why your plantain can't hard like this?
Madam, now the outside hard. Inside there, it is very soft.
Madam, wallahi make her no buy them. Make her show you something. What? What in be this one? Madam, this one now the chemical where they put on for the plantain make her ripe up.
So you dey put chemical for plantain where people go chop?
No water, no be chemical.
Water. You know say Pela I don't talk and say water and not be enemy. Drink am.
Where you collect that water, drink am.
I just stop finish. See my belly. It don't big. I just stop drink water finish.
Wait, you drink am now. I dey sell am plantain, I go come put am for chemical because I want to make a ripe go. That's why I talk now corruption. Corruption. Not be for this kaswa, come not be for this country. Now me take am.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadayi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has called for the deepening of regional economic communities to drive integration and trade ties among African nations to strengthen democracy and accelerate development across the continent. Tinubu made the call during the summit on state democracy in Africa, Abuja, seeking the revitalization of sub-regional blocs like the Economic Community of Western African States, ECOWAS, East African Community and Southern African Development Community as vehicles ushering the era of robust intra-African commerce, economic growth and job creation. Tinubu, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, said the immense potential of the African continental free trade area can only be realized when there is a concrete economic integration and collaboration at the different sub-regional levels. While delivering the keynote address, President Tinubu charged the regional bodies to prioritize and minimize trade barriers, as well as promote sustainable and inclusive economic growth, including human capital development as well as value addition in agriculture and agro-allied sectors. President Tinubu explained that the sub-regional cooperation is critical to the successful implementation of the path breaking by harmonizing rules and regulations to facilitate the free movement of goods and services and the people. Senate has mandated its committees on petroleum, upstream, downstream gas, Niger Delta Affairs, Health and Environment to investigate circumstances around the recent gas pipeline explosion in Bayelsa State. This followed the adoption of a motion at plenary on the need for the urgent action on the massive explosion close to Baranube gas processing facility in Yanagwa, Bayelsa State by Senator Benson Kombowe, representing PDP in Bayelsa State. Kombowe, in his presentation, said the Barian Ube gas processing facility was one of the most valuable gas projects in Nigeria, having cost multiples of billions of dollars to build, and the plant had the capacity to process about 2 billion standard cubic feet of gas daily. The lawmakers said there were huge explosions from a crude oil pipeline on May 14, resulting in an inferno in the vicinity of the gas facility, which constituted a threat to safety of the facility, saying that it was a precious national economic asset.
The explosion, according to the presentation made by Senator Benson Kongboy, who moved the motion on explosion in Yenagwa local government area of Bayelsa State, explained that the explosion caused widespread panic among residents of the community where the explosion occurred.
Concerned that this inferno resulted in the pumping of huge volumes of poisonous gaseous substances into the atmosphere, resulting in massive pollution of the environment, with adverse impacts on the health of the people within the vicinity. Concerned also that the air in the vicinity has been heavily impregnated with impurities, which can cause difficulty in breathing, damage to the lungs, and high risk of asthma patients.
Contributing to the debate, other lawmakers called for urgent measures to prevent reoccurrence and to provide for the health of the people of the community.
Have taken precautionary measures. We should have avoided it. To our people that are living around there, I will also emphasize that there is need for an urgent step to be taken, especially the evacuation of our people that are living there.
Senator Syria Kadiskin, in his contribution on the general challenges in the area, accused Shell Petroleum Development Company of not paying grant rent to the state government in years until a legislative intervention, which has recently yielded results for the first payment to the state a few months back.
So I will advise, when you come to the prayers, that this Senate will have to, maybe the committees, relevant committees, will have to conduct an inquiry, not the executive, because we don't believe that the executive understands the challenges that our people have been suffering all these years. To see what steps can be taken to determine the adequacy of the measures that have been taken, and also steps that can forestall further development. Mr. President,
the Senate, however, urged the federal government to provide intervention that will bring succor to the affected victims in the community. From the National Assembly, Rotimi Adewi, ATN News, Abuja.
Senate has resolved to convene a national security summit with a view to finding lasting solutions to the nation's pressing security challenges. The resolution was made on the floor of the Senate during Tuesday's plenary. According to the lawmakers, the summit will provide a platform for heads of security agencies, governors, traditional rulers, social-cultural groups, alongside civil society organizations to deliberate and seek solution to escalating security threats across the country.
Despite the successes achieved by security agencies in the fight against insurgency, the war seems to have evolved into banditry, kidnapping, and other criminal vices, which has midwifed some of the nation's economic challenges, particularly in the agricultural sector. This was part of the resolutions reached while deliberating on the killings of innocent citizens by alleged herdsmen in some parts of Kogi State. Senator Issa Jibril, representing Kogi East, drew the attention of his colleagues to the deadly attack on his constituents, which led to the loss of lives and properties.
Worried that Agoyeju Odo, Ajokpachi Odo, Bagaji and Bagana communities have been ravaged by recent gunmen, rendering over 30,000 inhabitants of the communities homeless, leading to exodus of these inhabitants to other parts of Kogi State.
Contributing to the debate, some of the senators who heard their views lamented that continuous killings like this brings a feeling of hopelessness, that nothing is being done by those in authority.
What do we do differently, because we were not always like this? How did we get here? Such a public hearing, I'm sure there are well-meaning Nigerians who share our concern. These ones that I mentioned, they are not the only one. Even in my small village, are other villages that are not on Nigeria map. Nigeria farmers are unable to go to work. I found that in some cases where the DPO is properly briefed, they are able to comb the bush and they find where some people set up some temporary homes where they kidnap, they maim, and they rape. These people are visible. And sometimes I wonder if somebody likes the will to deal with them. On a particular occasion, I saw a poor farmer went to farm and they just shot at his hand in his own community.
My people from my senatorial district came to me during Salah. Our life is under threat. As a senator representing them, I tell them to go and see the governor. They made a convoy and went to see the governor. Unfortunately, the governor was not on his seat. They went back. A week later, they were attacked and 20 of them were killed in Dan Umaru village. And then we rushed to go and condole them. I feel pain. We agreed with the Nigerian security when we were here that certain places that are prone to attacks, they will establish a front bases there. In my senatorial district, they have identified 3. They've set up 1. That one alone has reduced our banditry by more than 80%.
Ruling on the motion of the killing of innocent citizens in the state, President of the Senate, Senator Gospel Akpabio, said the summit will be all-encompassing. The Senate, however, observed a minute silence in honor of those that were killed.
The Senate also resolved to set up an ad hoc committee from each geopolitical zone to gather more facts and to find root causes of insecurity in Nigeria. Rotimi Adewi, ATN News, Abuja.
Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu, says the Southeast Development Commission bill that has passed through third reading in the Green Chambers and the Senate will soon be ready for onward transmission to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his assent. Kalu said the bill is presently at the conference committee stage for the concurrent of both chambers of National Assembly on its sections and provisions. The Deputy Speaker disclosed this when he received in audience the directors of Institute of Peace, Security and Development Studies of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, ORCA, led by their co-chairman Chikwe Udensi, on a courtesy visit to his office in Abuja. He said the Institute for Peace, Security and Development Studies is a specialized institute established by the Senate and the Council of the University to research into the causes, dimensions, consequences and possible management of conflicts and insecurity and their consequent effect on development, adding that the bill was an advocacy of peace in Southeast project to help in solving the infrastructural challenges in the region 53 years after the Civil War. He appreciated the Institute for opting to synergize with High-Speed, an initiative birthed by him and other members of the National Assembly from the Southeast that calls for a non-kinetic way of handling the insecurity in the region. House of Representatives has queried the contractors handling the Skill Acquisition Center at Iwo Chang, Ibeno local government area in Akwa Ibom State. The House Committee on Niger Delta, in investigative hearing on the abandoned Skill Acquisition Center in the region, observed that the lack of commitment by the contractors is contributing to the problem the country is facing over abandoned projects. The chairman of the committee, Honorable Eugene Dibagu, said it is ridiculous that the project Steel Acquisition Center at Iwo Chang, Ibeno local government area of Akwa Ibom State, where 85% of the contract sum had been paid and is yet to be completed. He expressed shock that the part of the fence constructed had been broken due to natural disaster.
Sad reality is that even when we have committed 6.2 billion, that center can still not work. You know why? This is just infrastructure. We have not taken into consideration the workshops, equipping of the workshop, instrumentation workshop, welding workshop, and all the departments that will be created for this facility to work. That contract, chairman, has not even been contemplated. So even when we spend 6.2 billion naira for this facility to stand, we have not even done anything. That center cannot train one person, even with 6.2 billion naira expended.
After receiving your submission, we will equally engage the Ministry of Niger Delta, and then we find a date. We will come for locus. It is after that we try to see whether there will be any consideration or valuation to your request. Because on the spot assessment, we'll be able to find out where you are culpable. For instance, the fence you said you built that fell, we want to know whether it's your fault that that fence fell or as a result of natural disaster.
The House had on November 23, 2023 deliberated on a motion titled Need to Complete the Construction of the Skill Acquisition Center at Iwoachang, a Beno local government area of Akwa Ibom State, and also urged the Federal Minister of Niger Delta Affairs to ensure completion of the project within the 2024 fiscal year and mandated the Committee on Niger Delta Ministry to ensure compliance. House of Representatives has urged the clerk of the Green Chamber to compile its resolutions on security for transmission to the Office of National Security Advisor on the worsening security situations in the country. The House took the decision following the consideration of a motion sponsored by the Minority Leader of the House, Kingsley Chinda, and 28 others during Wednesday's plenary session. Speaking on the motion, Kingsley Chinda, who represented Obiakpo Federal Constituency, lamented the state of security across the country in the past few years, which he said had impacted negatively on the cost of living, especially the cost of food items, adding that despite the resolutions by the House, nothing has happened by the way of execution to mitigate the attendant consequences. In his words, many Nigerians would be subjected to food insecurity if nothing is done to address the challenges of insecurity in the country. Following a voice vote on the motion, Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, who presided over the plenary session, mandated the clerk of the House to compile all House resolutions on security and forward the compilation to the Office of the Secretary Advisor and the Committee on Legislative Compliance for action. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sworn in the newly constituted 15-member National Stakeholders Working Group, also known as the Governing Board of the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. Represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who also chairs the new NATI board, transparency in the extractive sector and prudent management of Nigeria's resources were central to Tinubu's economic agenda and anti-corruption policies, warned the board not to dabble with the day-to-day activities of NATI. According to him, the accurate data management is the lifeblood of development in the oil and gas sector. Adding that the administration is passionate about the remains fully committed to the Global Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, the work of NATI and the visible impact of the AT process had achieved so far in Nigeria. National Orientation Agency and Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate have agreed to work together to embark on grassroots sensitization on pension. NOAA Director General Malam Lanre Esa and the team led by the Executive Secretary Dr. Chioma Ejikeme met at the agency's headquarters in Abuja to leverage the NOAA's proven platforms to promote pension. The DG of NOAA, Malam Issa Onilu, expressed happiness that the Directorate had approached the right agency with the mandate, competence, structure and capabilities to conduct grassroots sensitization across the country, adding that the importance of supporting pensioners, highlighting their significant contributions to the nation is a privilege and those who enjoy it must receive the necessary support. While speaking on the imminent launch of the National Value charter. He also shared the new platforms the agencies had introduced for MDAs to communicate their activities effectively to Nigerians, including the explainer, the mobilizer, as well as the agency's robust database with diverse demographic data and the upcoming television and radio stations. The PTAD chief appreciated the DG for providing valuable platforms and making them available for their use to serve Nigerians better. Nigeria Infrastructure Debt Fund, which is Nigeria's first local currency-denominated infrastructure investment trust fund, is seeking to raise 20.24 billion naira in new capital for additional investment in various infrastructural projects. It is offering 185 million naira unit of 100 naira per value at offer price of 109.43 naira under the series of 10 to its 200 billion naira issuance program, and will close on June 13, 2024. And the issuance represents the fund's 10th capital raise since inception in 2017 and second since its listing on Nigeria's exchange Chapel. Hildahim, the fund manager, said the proceeds from the offer will be applied towards infrastructure loans in furtherance of the fund's objective of supporting the growth of Nigeria's infrastructures and facilitates domestic and foreign institutional capital into infrastructure development in Nigeria, which had resulted in key development outcomes. The fund, backed by major institutional investors, including Nigeria's Sovereign Investment Authority, had provided long-term financing in Naira for private infrastructure projects. Chief Executive Officer Chapel Hill Deham Bolaji Balogun said he had increased the diversity of the areas into transportation, power, as well as education, telecoms, and social infrastructure, amongst others. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment Doris Nkiruka says the gas concessions given to electricity companies should be extended to cement manufacturers as a means of addressing the hike in the price of the product. The minister was represented by the ministry's permanent secretary, Ambassador Nura Rimi, said during investigative hearing by the House of Representatives Joint Committee on Solid Minerals, Industry, Commerce and Special Duties to probe the price increase. Zoka Nite identified some of the challenges facing cement manufacturers, to include cost of gas, high import duty on spare parts, bad road network, as well as high foreign exchange and smuggling of cement to neighboring nations. The House of Representatives Committee Chairman Gaza Bwefi ordered or wondered why cement manufacturers were complaining about roads when it is their activities that are largely responsible for the roads, adding that it was also a corporate social responsibility by the cement companies to ensure the maintenance of the roads, especially as there were incentives for them. He directed the ministry to make available its minutes with the cement manufacturers, a comprehensive report of all pioneer status issued to all the cement companies from inception and list of the incentives available to them. World Bank Group and African Development Bank Group are partnering on ambitious efforts to provide at least 300 million people in Africa with electricity access by 2030. World Bank Group President RJ Banga said the World Bank Group will work to connect 250 million people to electricity through distributed renewable energy systems or distribution grid, while the African Development Bank Group will support an additional 50 million people. He said access to electricity is a fundamental human right and is foundational to any successful development effort, adding that 600 million Africans lack access to back electricity, as well as creating significant barriers to healthcare, education, productivity, digital inclusivity, and ultimately job creation. This partnership is a demonstration of the determination of the World Bank Group and the African Development Bank Group to be bolder, bigger, and better in tackling one of the most pressing challenges in Africa. While the initiative is the most recent manifestation of the World Bank Group's commitment to become more impact-oriented and is byproduct of the concerted work plan to build a better bank, which is aided by the constellation of the regional energy programs that will now be aligned towards the common goal. For the World Bank Group to connect 250 million people, $30 billion of public sector investment will be needed, of which international dollars or development association, the World Bank's concessional arm for low-income countries, will be critical. In addition, government will need to put in place policies to attract private investment and reform their utilities so they are financially sound and efficient with tariff mechanisms that protect the poor. You're still watching the news on Atlantic Television Network. Up next is International Tidbits. United Kingdom general elections is to be held on July 4 after Prime Minister Rishi Sunak met with his top ministers. The poll will be the first time and faces the public while in charge after he was appointed leader of the largest party in parliament in an internal conservative vote in October 2022. Political commentators have increasingly suggested that Sunak was trailing badly in the polls to the main opposition Labour Party that would try to seek a bounce from the healthier outlook, while critics said it is more to do with changes in the global economy than government policies. Sunak had previously batted back all efforts to name a date, adding that he would go to the country in the second half of this year. Starmer, a pro-European centrist, promised economic stability, shorter health service, waiting times, and a new border security command to tackle irregular immigration, and also vowed to establish a publicly owned clean energy company and also crack down on antisocial behavior with more neighborhood police and recruit 6,500 new teachers. And in sports, Super Eagles head coach Finidi George says it is important for the team to beat South Africa and Benin Republic in their 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying match in June. Finidi's side are winners in Group C with 2 draws against Lesotho and Zimbabwe. The West Africans will face the Bafana and Squirrels in the double header next month. The Super Eagles need maximum points for both games to boost their chances of securing a place at the 2026 World Cup finals, while Finidi reckoned his side can't afford to drop more points after their poor start. And on entertainment, federal government has approved the prohibition of money rituals and glamorizing of vices in Nigerian films. Executive Director of CEO of the National Film and Video Censors Board, Shaibu Hosseini, who disclosed this at a national stakeholders engagement on smoke-free Nollywood held in Enugu, said the event was organized by the National Film and Video Censors Board and Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, comprising movie producers, directors and actors drawn from different parts of the country, as well as leaders of various guilds and associations in Nigerian film industry were present at the event. Husseini said the sensitization program was to educate stakeholders on the danger inherent in the consummation of smoking in Nigerian movies, and the board was set to undertake detailed enlightenment programs in secondary schools, tertiary institutions, local communities, faith groups, and other institutions. And that's the global news for tonight, but before we go, Another look at the major stories. Court orders police to pay monarchs 3 million naira compensation. Cross River Assembly Speaker impeached. Senate to convene security summit over herdsmen attack. President Tinubu approved $750 million for rural electrification. United Kingdom general election holds July 4. Finidi says Super Eagles must win next 2 games. Federal government bans money ritual smoking scenes in Nollywood movies. I am Enidoye Jackson. Thank you for watching and good evening. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social